Many people from the audience have submitted their questions. Those who have not yet and would like to submit question, please give it to me, please. Thank you. Oh.
What's the question for somebody didn't get one?
Right
Why not?
there. Okay, we'll start. The first question is from Kathleen Gleason. What are the plans to phase out the beach sewer plant and how soon? This question can be addressed by both, I guess.
Currently, all right. Due to the enormous cost of trying to put the two systems together, beach and northwest, and I'm talking multitude millions of dollars, there is no plans to phase out the beach plant. We're doing all right with the beach plant currently. We're trying not to add any more to the beach plant. However, the Army base will be going, the Army base when it's developed, will be going to the beach plant. But the phasing out of the beach plant is just not in the cards, and it's doing well. Good. I'm sorry, the beach plant is the old sewer plant, or was the old sewer plant, still is what you would call the old sewer plant, the original sewer plant. It's on Beach Drive in Rio Vista. If you were to go to the Sandy Beach Recreation Park, which is by the county, the beach plant is right next to that.
On that subject, I don't have a lot of information, so that would be something definitely I would research. Might be something to look into to see about updating. It would just have to be put on the agenda for researching, so, because I don't have that information.
Okay. The next question is, when can Rio Vista expect to have a 3-star or better hotel options for visitors and family?
What was it? I couldn't understand it. I was just trying to stop you from falling. No, could you repeat the question? I couldn't understand it.
Well, you can answer this.
Repeat it. I couldn't hear.
We're going for a 3-star hotel
Oh.
And better.
in the Michelin Guide.
Oh, in the Michelin Guide?
That would be a wonderful thing if we could. I'm not aware if there is anything in the works for one, but definitely would love to take and research that. We are in the need for something like that here. I think it would be a great asset for our town.
I agree. We have, in the past, had one hotel chain come in and take a look, and as far as I know, this is before I was elected, nothing was heard back from them. But we are ripe for some form of either a hotel. That's all I can say. I don't know about the number of stars.
More than one.
Hopefully one.
The next question is from Jack Telcher. He has a question regarding the business license. I have a business and I paid 3 times more in Benicia. I really think the fee is too low. Thoughts?
Wow.
Here is somebody who wants to pay more taxes.
Well, our business license, basic business license fee is $40.
A year?
$40. Having had a business in Marin County, a sole proprietary business in San Rafael, I believe that the cheapest I got it was, now that's $40 a month, was $125 a month. $40 a month is probably the cheapest between the Antarctic Circle and South American continent. In order for us to increase the business license fees in Rio Vista, we'd have to go to the voters. And I'm not absolutely positive how well that would go. But $40 a month, I consider very reasonable.
A month or a year?
It's $40 a month. If it was $40 a year, I'd cry.
I agree that that's a wonderful price for our area. The only thing I've ever heard regarding business licenses in this town that was a complaint, and I kind of agree, was that if you go to apply for a business license here, you don't get your license the same day. Most places around the surrounding areas like Fairfield or Sassoon, you can go in and get a business license the same day. Here you have to wait and it shows up in the mail, and a lot of business people were very frustrated with that. But as far as the fee goes, I think that's great.
Thank you. Next question is from Julie Overman. Tanya, next door asked you to expand on your experience in city government. You didn't respond. Have you served on a commission? Why start on the top if you haven't direct experience on the job?
Okay, that was a concern. I didn't see that. I know for a fact after talking with the city clerk about qualifications that I am qualified. You do not need to serve on a committee or commissions. You don't need to be a volunteer for the city or anything like that. And in fact, you don't even need to be a major in English. So I did what my research on what it takes to be a mayor, and I have the qualifications, so I stepped up.
And the follow-up on that question is, why write-in candidate and not regular channels?
Why what now?
Why write-in candidate and not a regular channel
write-in.
candidate? As a
Oh.
write-in candidate, yes.
Why it was so late? I had one point looked at being on city council, but then I saw so many people running and I just kind of like held back and stuff. And then I was, like I said, I was talking with several people and people kept saying, we need to change all the way, everybody. We need new everybody, mayor, city council, and they kept saying that. And then people started approaching me when they knew that I wanted to be part of this. They said, why don't you just step up to be mayor? And at first I was telling them, I don't know that I can because I don't know what it takes to be a mayor yet. I gotta go research it. So I did the time. I went down to the county. I went to our city clerk and I had long conversations to figure out if this is going to be okay to do, and it was okay to do. So like I said, I stepped up. It is something that I'm passionate about because I love this town. This city means a lot to me, and I want to see some of the changes start happening. So like I said, that's why I'm here.
Thank you. The next question is from Lowell Graff. Mr. Mayor, during your debate to become mayor, you said that a priority was to set up auto payment for the water bills. What happened? I think you already addressed, but you want to elaborate more on that?
Yes, there was a parade of vendors that went past a committee, and some of them wanted to outsource the receivables department in Rio Vista to another state and do the online billing through there, which would have been fine had it been a large department. Our accounts receivable department is 1.5 people. And we have a lot of people in Rio Vista who pay by cash, who cannot get checking accounts, and those people have to be waited on at the counter. So that is an important issue. Plus, we needed to have the meters read in such a fashion that they could be downloaded electronically into our software system and then billed out electronically. And that's what we're in the process of doing right now. And in that process, we're going to allow, there will be a portal either on our website or a separate website for it, for people to go on and pay their bills using a debit, credit card, or a direct debit to their cash. Or we weren't even able to set up where you could have it deducted from your checking account. So this will be a first where we'll be able to have it even deducted from a checking account. I'm hopeful that that's done in the next few months at least, or start up in the next few months.
Go ahead.
One other thing I wanted to bring up about the water department and why I am passionate about getting it online is because I had a bad experience myself with them paying cash. My money was lost. And when I asked them for a receipt, they told me they didn't have to give me one. That they initialed my paper and that was their receipt. I had to prove I paid. Now, I think that's wrong because I asked them, where is your proof that you received my cash? And you know what? They couldn't give me that. They had nothing. So to me, they need to be accountable. And if I was mayor, I would not accept cash because that's too much of a liability. And I would definitely want it to be online. You can go to the post office with your cash and get money orders. Paper trail is always better.
Well, that's all very nice, but we have some very poor people in Rio Vista. And yes, they can go get a money order with proper identification at the post office. They may not have that. Some of the landlords require their tenants to pay their water bills and they pay in cash. They just have no other way of doing it. We have a lot of seniors who pay in cash. It is what it is. So as I said, we have one person in the accounts receivable, and I'm sorry for Ms. Hennenbaum's experience, and I will definitely bring that up to staff.
Thank you. Next question is from Rick Govia. Do you think your social media, and I guess this is to the mayor, do you think your social media posts are detrimental to your campaign?
I don't think that's to the mayor. I don't have social media.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it Tanya? Is it Rick? Is it for Tanya?
What's the question?
It was meant for Tanya.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Do you think your social media posts are detrimental to your campaign?
No, absolutely not. I've had great response from people. I love it. If they love me, they private message me. A lot of my stuff is through private messages that they talk to me, and I have really good response from people. It's been overwhelming.
Okay, thank you. Isabel is asking, how much power does the mayor really have, or does the staff run the city? And then the follow-up question is, in light of the multiple break-ins at the bra shop, what's your plan to get the police to solve the crimes?
Is that addressed?
That's probably because of you and the mayor. It's
First question.
First question is, how much power does the mayor really have, or does the staff run the city?
All right, let me explain that. We are a general law city, and as all general law cities, and even charter cities in many instances in California, and most of California's general law, is that we are a council manager form of government. And I was surprised to find out that the manager is supposed to have as much power as was attributed. That is not true. The manager carries out the policy of the council, not the other way around. As far as the Galleria Bra Shop tragedy, and I will say it is tragedy, what can I do to goose the police department along? I don't know that the police department did not rightfully investigate what happened there. I'm not privy to what the police department's case was, so I have no idea what that question means.
And there's also a question about the damage to the promenade, $25,000.
But, oh, you mean the light damage? And the lighting damage, is that the question about the damage to the lights?
Isabel? Who is Isabel?
I have noticed that there are broken lights on the promenade. I don't know what's going on, whether it's juveniles or what the vandalism thing is. But on the new promenade where the lights are, I've noticed that there are several broken lights I don't know the entire dollar amount, but those will have to be worked on and replaced. We have to replace them. We can't let them just sit there like that.
Okay, thank you.
Really quick, on what the duties on the mayor is, maybe I didn't explain myself so much. The city manager runs and does the overhead of the other offices. The mayor and the council do votes to pass things, and they work with the city manager. My point was that as a mayor, I don't have control of everything. Neither, we have to have the votes, and the city manager is actually running the city and all the department heads.
Thank you. Next question is from Jan. From what I heard previously, all want to bring new business into the city. How do you plan on doing that without proper internet and medical facilities? This is for both the candidates. Mayor?
For the internet, there's a possibility with money, and again, it is with money. We embark on doing our own internet services. Winters has done that, and I don't know precisely how they did it. I've had a consultant tell me that he has helped another city establish their own internet. But we're very rural. This is a problem that is facing not only Rio Vista, but it is a common problem from what I'm reading throughout rural America, which makes me think back to the days of FDR when there was no electrification in rural areas, and they came up with a rural electrification program or authority. I think we need in the United States, since the internet is such an important thing, we probably need maybe something like that to be done throughout the United States, since Rio Vista is not alone in this. And the second part of the question was?
The medical facility.
I too, when I moved to Rio Vista almost 18 years ago, there were two doctors, Paredes, and then there was North Bay Medical, which eventually became Sutter Medical. Now Sutter moved out because of the demographics. So I tried with Lodi Memorial to come in and occupy that building, and even offered them another office building that the city owned that's now occupied by CARE. And Lodi Memorial took a look at it, and they called me and they said, demographics just doesn't make it work. So we have a lot of different people in different insurance programs. We have veterans, we have TRICARE, we have Kaiser. But Kaiser has recently, we've done a survey, and Kaiser is the major supplier of medical in Rio Vista. So they're interested in coming in again. And so is the county in helping, so there'll be the county coming in with a medical facility, and they're going to look at the medical facility that was occupied before. I don't know what the outcome is going to be, but I agree. For a rural community, not to have medical is a hardship, and getting businesses to open here, that can be an impediment. However, our first responders are really fantastic, and they can administer up to morphine and drugs while they're waiting for transportation from an ambulance. So we're doing not as well as we could, but we are doing not completely badly. It would be nice to have a medical facility, and our vice mayor is working on it, and I hope that there will be one coming in soon.
I agree. I think that is very, very important for our community, for our children, and for the fact that we have Trilogy. And from what I understand, there's a lot of going on out there with the services needed for transportation back and forth to the hospital and stuff like that. If we had something closer, it'd be so much better.
Thank you. Jan, is the second question. Are there any plans to create rental office space at the airport to have an additional income stream?
We currently are renting office space at the airport, and we just leased one office space out to somebody who's teaching. She is an instructor, flight instructor.
Flight instructor.
There are not that many indivisible offices at the airport. However, in the 1990s, when the airport was moved up from where it was, which is currently our business park, the city fathers put in this small industrial park. You can find it. You can find it. If you drive up toward Liberty Island Road, along Airport Road, and drive slowly and carefully, on your right-hand side, there is what looks like a driveway. And you go in, and it's an entrance to the industrial park that they started to build almost 30 years ago. It is vacant except for a drive and some curbs and, I'm assuming, underground utilities. That has never been marketed. So that's a possibility if we wanted office space there, but I think we have a lot more possibility downtown.
Thank you. Okay. Bart Porter has another question. What are your ideas for bringing new business, more business into Rio Vista? I think this probably has been answered again and again. So, Tanya, you want to talk about it?
Hold on a second here. How do we list? Do we own it?
So, one of the first things that needs to be done is we need to improve our city's curb appeal, because a lot of businesses that come through here, that's one of the first things they're going to look at. Then we need to, like I said before, talk to our current business owners and get as much input as possible on what is needed. I don't like seeing those vacant storefronts downtown. There's got to be something different we can do to make sure they're getting filled. Bringing in business by offering land, or city land, talk to a developer, fix up that business park, look at some of the city leases, take a look at our zoning, work with the planning commission to get things zoned for businesses, and then also getting our business license department on board with issuing business licenses same day to make it easier for them to start here. And then most importantly, market Rio Vista. It needs to be marketed. They need to know that we are here and what we have to offer.
Thank you. Fred Kogler has a question.
Well, was that strictly her, or was that for both of us?
Oh, sure, yes, it is. Go
Okay,
ahead.
all right. I would like to point out that the two vacant buildings on Main Street are a landlord that has that, and I'm very worried about it because he owns other parts of that are filled currently with, like the pizza factory and other businesses. When you go to rent from him, when you speak to his real estate agency, you get quoted a per square foot rate that is way over market for Rio Vista. Way over. So you walk away and think, I don't think I can make a business work here. You go to the Rio Vista Hotel where Jack Hirsch is the property owner, and you look at his vacant places and you want to rent from him, he's far below what those two spaces are on Main Street. So the key is what you can rent for on a per square foot basis. That's number one. The business license situation in issuing it, I have no idea why we take so long, and I would like to look at that myself, and I will.
Thank you. Fred Kogler has a question regarding, and is this addressed to the mayor, I suppose? Both of them? Okay. Thoughts on city engineer contract with Dillon and Murphy since 1997 without any rebid? Rebid. Rebid.
Oh, rebid. Okay,
Yes.
rebid. Go ahead.
Yes.
All that is, I'm going to say that's absolutely correct. It has not been rebid, and I believe if you look at California contract law, it has to be rebid every so often. And I think that perhaps our city manager might be putting it out for rebid. It was supposed to go out for rebid some months ago, and it hasn't.
Okay. Next question is from Patrick Byron. What do you believe is the biggest challenge for our people, and what are you going to do to fix it? For young people, I'm sorry. Biggest challenge for our young people, and what are you going to do to fix it?
There's nothing here for them to do. They need more things to do. Our youth center needs to get going and on the ball. I was thinking that it would be, I know we have those mentor programs through the police and fire department. That is awesome. There was another thing I was thinking of where, depending on, I guess it would depend upon the age of the child, but a work training or apprenticeship program, I think would be really cool, because not only is it give them something to do, it trains them for something in the future that they can do.
Currently, we have the Rio Vista Youth Center, which is run and funded entirely by Hope and Brent Cohn. They have pool tables, they have air hockey, they have a variety of things. They're trying, and they have been successful in doing this in the old youth center, and now they're moved to 45 Main, which is called Youth, and never mind, it's a long name. But they are there, and they provide a safe place for the students to go after school. Other than that, there are school athletic teams, soccer and what have you. At the various schools, we're putting in a soccer field at the park near White School, and also a skateboard park, which should be something else for students to do besides school activities after school, because in the summertime, we have a swimming pool, we have shark swimming, and we have, and that's whatever the cones provide, because they're open year-round. That's about primarily it.
Thank you.
Saturday night, just Saturday night.
Saturday night? Well, Saturday night would be like Friday night lights and school dances and Saturday night school dances, but in the summertime, those aren't available.
He has a second question. Patrick Byron has a second question. What do you believe has delayed the construction of the city dock, and why won't it be completed before promenade? Why wasn't it completed before the promenade?
That's a good question. And I don't know, and that is something, I'm thinking that the ball was dropped. I do know that there was supposed to be something done back in July. I do know that the grant was for $225,000. It called for $75,000 city match, and some of those contributions were supposed to have already been matched, but I don't know if it was the full amount or not. I think about maybe $50,000 almost. Anyways, last thing that I read, there was a holdup on getting permits or something like that, and then that was supposed to be in April of that year, this last year. They were supposed to get permits, I guess, by July, but that deadline came and went. So that's when the newest thing I read came out that said that the Rio Vista big project expired June 30th, 2017. And that means we will lose the funding, the grant money. But it can be extended if the project is already moving forward, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service approves it with an extension request. And the DBW also must approve the request as well.
So have we asked for that extension?
Okay, The July deadline is news, and I think it's news to the city council. We weren't told that there was a July deadline that we missed. But I will say this, yes, we do need permits. We need permits from the Army Corps of Engineers because this is in the river, and even though it's an existing floating dock, it's in their jurisdiction, and they have to give us permits. That permit we have not received yet. However, I heard it was 250,000, but I'm not going to squibble over 25,000, but 250 is what I heard. And yes, there was supposed to be a $75,000 matching grant, and that was being done by private fundraising. I don't know where that is currently. I believe that a fair amount of money has been collected. However, our city manager has stated that he's going to push this forward and it's going to move, and that's the next thing in the docket. And I expect us to make the July 2017 deadline. If we don't make that deadline, or if there's a holdup due to permitting from the Army Corps, we can go back to the grantors, as Tanya said, and ask for an extension.
Thank you. Next question is from Chelsea Taylor. Will you support changing the ordinance to allow a medical cannabis dispensary? Tanya?
I would consider it, but I mean, I don't want it in our downtown area really. I would think that it would be someplace off of Main Street would be better. But I would consider it after doing more research on whether, you know, for public safety reasons, that it would be a valid thing to have for our community.
Mayor?
Well, we did revise our ordinance recently, and it was this last year. And it did not allow for medical dispensaries, but it does allow for growing your own pot at home, 6 plants, personal use only. I'm waiting to see what the proposition comes in, what occurs with the proposition for recreational marijuana. California has had medical marijuana in play for a long time. So this is personal and recreational use. Now, I haven't even read it in the ballot yet, so I would like to wait and see what happens after the voters have spoken in November.
Okay, thank you. Don, do you think your question has been answered about the board doc? No? Yes? Okay. Next question is from Loretta Abbott. What is the most important infrastructure issues facing our city, and how do you intend to address it? Most important infrastructure issue facing our city, and how do you intend to address it?
Infrastructure, what's the most important infrastructure issue facing the city? And to me, the most important infrastructure facing this city right now is the Highway 12 gap closure and the redoing of Highway 12 downtown with the addition of sidewalks. I want to make sure that Safe Routes to School crossing at Gardner Way is finished, because we have the yellow lights in the pavement, but now it's going to be an overhead light that's, you know, going to flash, and trucks have got to learn that there's going to be maybe another stop. And so this would be similar to the lights that flash, warning people that there's a stop coming at Somerset Drive. Other than that, the next biggest infrastructure issue is finishing up the sewer and water replacement lines. As downtown, those lines hadn't been looked at in 50 years. In 2009, the city council at that time had to increase the rates so that they could afford to go in and replace the water and sewer lines. And we've done a lot of work in examining those lines and doing TVing of the sewer lines, so to know which ones are first And I'm looking forward to seeing the final CIP come through. Capital improvement program for sewer and water. And the state requires you to have a capital improvement program for at least, I would say 5 years, but I'm not sure what this one is going to be for sewer. Right.
Okay, thank you. Tanya, you want to answer that?
I think he pretty much nailed it with the sewer and the water, and definitely the crossings and stuff. We also have blighted properties too. I know it's not infrastructure, but we also have blighted properties to look at in the city. Some the city owned and some are privately owned, but we need to look at those too.
Loretta is our second question. As mayor, will you have an open forum for citizens to voice their concerns, and what would that look like? Open forum for citizens, and what would it look like? As a mayor, would you allow?
Absolutely, I would want everybody's input. I would love people to show up. I want business owners to show up. I want regular concerned citizens to show up. I want to hear it from everybody.
Okay. Yeah.
Of course, that's a yes question all the way around. Right now, we're encouraging participatory government. The fact that you can come to city council meetings and stand up, and I will always recognize you, and speak on any issue, either before the meeting, as Patrick can attest, in a public open time, or at each and every agenda item, I open it up for the public to come up and address us. I don't always get any response, but often I do get a response, and sometimes that response is enlightening.
And the final question of the evening is from Dixie Porter. To our current mayor, who owns the airport here? Do we receive any dollars from it? Number one.
Yes, we receive dollars from it. And no, we are not losing dollars. We are not making a lot of dollars, but we are receiving rents on the hangars. We're selling gas. Planes fly in to gas up here, so we're making money on that. What makes it look very bad is that the investment to build that airport, to move it up from the current business park, cost well over $11 million, and the city didn't have the money. So the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, put some grant money in, and Caltrans Aviation part also put money in. So we have well over $11 million invested in the building of that airport in the early 90s, and we're writing it down. Every year we do an annual book depreciation of $250,000. You balance that versus the revenue and expenditures, and it looks like we're spending a lot of money on that airport, but it's not, it's a book depreciation. But we are not transferring money out of the general fund or any fund currently, since I've been on the council, into that airport.
Thank you. And the second question that Dixie has is, what is our single most pressing challenge? To you.
There is a lot of challenges. We have Sino coming in to develop on the other side of Church Road from Trilogy. We are negotiating with them now on their property development agreement that was signed in the 90s, again in the 90s for 30 or 40 years. We have to negotiate with them on what the cost is going to be, what their impact is going to be on public safety, and on roads, and a variety of other things, and we can charge them impact fees after negotiating on their building license permit, their building permit. Well, that's where the impact fees are paid. And no developer that I know wants to pay more than maybe $100 for a building permit. They will tell you, and I've learned this in Marin County where my experience begins, is if they have to pay more money than that, they'll never be able to sell a house because they put it on the house. Their children will have to go to school without shoes. They will tell you all of this. So if you can listen to Shay tell you that and believe it, you're in trouble. Encino is also working with us, very difficult, but they have to build a fire station. Now, according to the development agreement, we have to reimburse them for that, which I don't really like. If you're going to have them build something, we shouldn't have to reimburse. But that could be $2 million. And we do and will need a new fire station at that end of the city. That's where the majority of calls are, and our response time is critical.
Thank you. Well, since I said last question, there are two more questions that have just come in. Julie has asked, Tanya, you mentioned lots of things that need to be done, but you have given no specifics of what or how you would do it. Example, please.
Well, a lot of things need to be re-put on the agenda and actually researched and followed through on. That's where I'm finding a lot of things are not kept on the agenda and kept moved forward. The boat dock, for instance, I mean, it's been how many years? We need to work on that. We need to get it done. It doesn't seem like it should have taken so long, especially when we were given money to take care of it. I mean, there's just a number of things that just take a little time and a little research and a little sitting down and discussing and passing it. That's all it is. I mean, you've got to do your homework. And that's what I have not seen. A lot of things are just overlooked. And I don't want to do that. I want to be the one to take each one, look at it, and get it going. How? Like I said, by working with our council and doing some research and finding out.
Can you give one example of something that needs to be changed in the city and how you would change it specifically? One example.
Let's see here. I would say our youth center. Our youth center is a good one. Adding more things to it for our youth to do, getting those mentor programs and training programs in place by going and asking people, volunteers. If you don't get out there and talk to people and start making phone calls, you can never get anything done. It just takes a lot of research.
Mr. Mayor, can you talk about the high school and what you offered to them on the intern program?
On the what type of program? Say it again.
Intern program,
High school.
high school.
High school intern. That's one thing that I would like to do is have an intern program in City Hall. We do not have an intern program. I would like to bring high school students specifically in for internships, and that would be shadowing different departments, see what goes on in the departments, shadowing the mayor, talking to council members, because it gets them interested in local government. And then graduating from high school and moving on to college, for instance, if they go to Davis, I know 2 students that went to Davis, and they're taking government classes. I've had them come back and talk to me, and I gave them quite a bit of information on what I could. But that is one way of introducing them to what they may have starting in their freshman year in college. So an internship, to me, working with the high school would be valuable.
Thank you. And the last and the final question for this evening is from Marie Johnson. What is the function of the mayor and what are the responsibilities of the mayor? Yes, please.
Well, some people might think that the function of the mayor is to run the meeting, the council meeting twice a month, but it is more than that. The mayor is required here in Solano County specifically, and as in other communities. I was a mayor in Corte Madera and Marin County before I came here, but that was what you call a rotational council. majority of cities in California are rotational, so every year there's a new mayor, or it's moved from one council member to another. Here, directly elected was starting off with a new experience. I was expected to be on the Solano Transportation Authority Board of Directors. They only accept the mayors, Solano County Water Agency, representing the city on the City Coordinating Council, and the resultant committees from those particular bodies. And I have been on a couple of committees for those bodies. Legislative Committee, Solano County Water Agency, and I can't think of the committees that I have been on. The executive board for the Solano Transportation Authority, I've been on that for a few years, a couple of years. And those are day jobs, except there are meetings at night, the board meetings at night. So, and you have to be able to not only represent your city, but request funding from those bodies for the city for a variety of things. For instance, through the Solano County Water Agency, requesting $500,000 or have them help us with $500,000 grant for flood control for the city of Rio Vista. And we're doing that because the state has decided to come in and do some work on the Yellow Bypass, which I'm on the executive committee of the Yellow Bypass, along with the Department of Water Resources, Army Corps of Engineers, the Department of Water, well, I did say the Department of Water Resources, and Sacramento County Flood Agency and a variety of other agencies. They plan to do eco-restore in Yellow Bypass, which means they may move the levees back and do some tidal flooding of that particular area, which places Rio Vista in a bad position for flooding. We are at the end. If you look at the Yellow Bypass, it's like a funnel. We're at the bottom of the funnel, and they're going to increase the water coming toward Rio Vista by 500,000 cubic feet per second. So we do need flood control. That's why we're going after it, and that's why I'm pushing and working on that.
Thank you. Well, that brings us to the end of this event, and please give them both a big hand. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Tanya, for participating in this. I appreciate that. Good night.